Welcome back to Sorta Sophisticated, the podcast that makes you the person people want to hang out with at parties. How's that for alliteration? Person people want to hang out with at parties. Well, that's the premise anyway. Wow, that's a lot of P's. I'm Pete, and I guess that's so many P's. I guess you'd call me your, unofficial guide to pretending you're cultured, right?
And I'm Amanda with no P's.
Right.
And I guess if you're the unofficial guide, by default, that makes me the official guide. So now we're in trouble.
Okay, no way. You keep me totally in line. And by the way, I counted the number of P's. That was 6 P's. Person, people, parties, premise, Pete, and pretending.
You're
That's amazing.
crazy.
I know. Okay. You're what makes this work. You're the glue. Let's cut the crap. You are totally the official guide. Let's be honest. Okay. It's a very symbiotic relationship, Amanda. And besides, no one's really listening anyway. Speaking of not listening, and despite my endless complaints, we're all about to lose an hour of sleep again thanks to daylight saving times coming up here right around the corner, Amanda.
Oh, it's the worst. When is that again? Is it this week? Ugh.
Totally. It's this Sunday, March 9th, 2 a.m., people. We lose an hour. Kill me. It totally throws me off for the whole freaking week.
It throws off my kids. It throws off my life. It throws off everything. But the only plus side is now it's going to be light outside at night. So the kids can go outside longer.
Oh my God, yes!
Skedaddle.
I love kids outside longer. I totally remember that. It was the best feeling ever when I was growing up. And then my kids used to talk about it all the time too. They loved it. I wish I was a kid again. Oh my God, take me back, please.
Seriously? You would go back to being a kid?
Oh my God, in a heartbeat. Me and Gabby used to talk about this all the freaking time. I'd always tell her I would totally go back and start all over again. And she was like, no way, I would never. I think I just loved my childhood or something, a lot. Shout out to Phil and Esther. Let's go. Good work, Mom and Dad. You wouldn't do it?
No, I like adulting. Drinking wine, hosting dinner parties, listening to podcasts, being all sophisticated.
My God, thank you very much for marketing. Let's go. You're like the queen of our marketing. I love that. Okay,
even though I wouldn't want to be a kid again, I'll tell you something I would do.
What?
I'd probably start this episode already.
Oh my God, you just clocked me. Oh my
did.
God, fine. What? Are you ready?
I totally am.
Oh my God, let's do this. Okay, fine. So in honor of the Six Nations tournament that's going on right now across UK, Italy, and France, today we will be giving our listeners a little crash course on all things rugby, also known as the game they play in heaven.
Wait, the game they play in heaven? 1, already intrigued, but 2, what the heck is that about?
How about because it's the best sport ever? Okay,
I mean,
kidding.
I don't know.
It is.
Hold
but that's
on.
not why they named it that. What?
I agree. Rugby is super intense,
Mhm.
but it's also super brutal. So why is it the best game in heaven? This does not make sense.
Okay, so it got the name, the game they play in heaven, because of how romanticized it is. They beat the shit out of each other, just like you said, but they're super respectful to each other at the same time. And they're super respectful to the refs, too. And the refs, explain everything, and they never have to deal with any bullshit from anyone. It's super collaborative and makes it even more fun to watch. I think it goes back to where, it all started in England and England's deep, Christian roots, making it feel like it's more about camaraderie and sportsmanship than it's, about winning. Rugby players joke that when one of them dies, they go to a special part of heaven where the game never ends. Have you seen a rugby match?
In person? No, but I've watched it on
watch
the
on TV. When you watch it on TV,
yeah.
when there's a penalty, the referee stops the game and he's like, okay, hold on a second. We're going to talk to the referees up in the booth. And then they all talk. And then the referee explains okay, the penalty was here. This is what I was thinking. This is what I was doing. And then the captains are allowed to talk about it with them. It's super collaborative.
Yeah.
It's the most gentlemanly sport in the world. And then they go beat the shit out of each other. It's amazing.
Okay, well, I am already super intrigued for this whole episode. And also mostly because Iona Mayhar, have you heard of her? She is the female rugby player from the U.S. in the Olympics. It's amazing. So she's blowing up social media right now. And I think that it's going to be super relatable to all of these millennials like myself to learn a little bit more about rugby. I'm already loving this episode, Pete. And I'm going to claim the game they play in heaven. Isn't it now my favorite fun fact for the whole episode? Well, maybe it's not really a fun fact, but really it's a fun lore. So either way, I love it. I'm here for it. But I do have one question for you.
What?
Do you think they do word of the day in heaven?
Oh, my God. Dork. Really subtle transition. Love that.
I got to keep you on track. That's my job.
Yeah.
And you know me. I'm the queen of segues. So give us a word.
Oh, you're the queen of the segues. All right. Today's word is anachronistic.
Ooh, that's a fancy word. What does it mean?
Anachronistic means something that's out of place in time. Like if you saw Christopher Columbus, shout out to our episode on Indigenous Peoples Day, scrolling through TikTok, that would be anachronistic because that's it's impossible.
So it's basically like using a smartphone. It's totally anachronistic.
Oh my God, I hate your
anachronistic.
yeah, whatever How about more like asshole-istic? Okay. I know how to use a smartphone sometimes. Okay. You're totally ageist. I'm filing a lawsuit with Daniel Goggins and Associate. That's bullshit.
Well, good luck. Go ahead. But he's a defense attorney for workers' comp cases, not a libel or slander guy. So good luck with that.
Whatever. He's a lawyer and he's smart. And I'm putting him on retainer just in case. Retainer.
Okay, well, you have fun doing that. Can we start the episode now or no?
Yeah, we totally can.
And before we do anything, you got to explain the haka first because that is the best part of rugby. Talk about being cultured and curious. Like people need to understand and know why that is such an integral part of rugby. Then you can explain the history and the rules and whatever other stuff we usually do. But the haka, best part. Coolest thing ever in all of sports.
Oh my God, 100%. Totally. It's iconic. You just got to seriously, you got to YouTube it to appreciate it, right? Like I can't, I'm not going to be able to explain. I'll give you a little history, but I can't explain it. Like you got to see it. It's not just for rugby, by the way. It's for everything. Do you remember 2 months ago in New Zealand, that lady blew up on TikTok for performing a haka in front of Parliament? And then they had to shut down the whole session because basically they were all opposing some bill that was supposed to reinterpret New Zealand's original treaty with the Maori people. Well, I guess all the indigenous people of New Zealand, not just the Maoris. And this lady, I guess I should be more sophisticated here. She's not just some lady. She's a member of Parliament. Her name is Hana Rafidi Maipi Clark. Stands up and starts ripping out this haka, right there on the Parliament floor.
It was amazing. It was so good.
It was
so
yeah, I
good.
get chills every time I watch it. Okay, so the original story behind the haka was to rally warriors and to intimidate invading armies or opponents or whatever. It's a war dance that originated from the Maori people who used it in warfare, but also in celebrations and different ceremonies. And it's turned into a symbol of pride and national unity for New Zealanders. And when you watch the All Blacks do it, that's the name of New Zealand's rugby team, Amanda. I'm not being racist, by the way. They're called the All Blacks. It's amazing. And I would shit my pants if I had to play them. Because before the match starts, they're all out there doing this haka and screaming at you and thumping their chest like they're going to rip your heart out and eat it or something. It's totally insane. And they all look like freaking Dwayne The Rock Johnson while they're doing it. It's crazy.
But it works. If I was standing across from them and I saw that, I just stand over the ball and be like, I'm done. Thank you. No need to tackle me. I'll see myself out. Have a good day. You win.
Oh my God, same. Totally. But I should be clear. It's not just New Zealand that actually does the haka. Other countries do it too. But they have other names for it for their countries. Tonga has one. Samoa has one. And I think Fiji has one too. But they all have different names depending on where they originate from. So they're not called haka, but I don't know the sophisticated names for each one of them. Got it?
Got it. And I love it. I love all of it. I think it's so great that there's a whole culture and history behind something so important and integral, right? Rugby isn't just about brute strength. It's a way of life. And I'm going to start watching. I just got to follow. And if I'm going to follow, I guess maybe it's also, I have to follow the American one, which is with Iona Mehar. So we all should get on that. And I think that was a good start. So now I think you can jump into a little history lesson because I'm ready.
Any way for you to start watching rugby, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that the U.S. women's rugby team is absolutely amazing.
They were incredible.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Incredible. Inspire all the young little girls.
Can I start history now?
You can.
Okay. I'm going to go quick because I know how you work. Okay, picture this. Early 19th century. Reminder, that's 1,800 people. England is doing its whole we invent every sport thing. And the schools are full of kids playing different versions of football. And when I say football, it's your version of football, soccer. Yeah, right? Not American football, right?
Right, because Americans haven't figured out that they could just pick up the ball and run with it instead.
No, right. Not by that time yet.
No,
so totally.
no.
Right. So funny you said that because it's kind of what exactly happened.
What happened?
Right. So listen. Okay. So it might be more of a legend than actual fact. Thank you. See, I'm not a level 7 liar. I just asterisked that shit right there.
Fair.
Right? I just literally
Okay.
see, when I told you I promised I would say stuff.
Okay, true fact. Go ahead.
Okay. So basically in 1823, this guy, William Webb Ellis, a student at Rugby School in England, just decided one day to scoop up the ball mid-game while he's playing football or soccer and start running with it instead. And instead of everyone telling him to sit down and stop being weird, it somehow led to the birth of rugby.
I'm already confused and have so many questions.
What?
Okay, first, how was it already called the Rugby School before they even invented rugby? Because that just doesn't make sense.
Okay, good point. I went too fast. It's because I'm a level 7 liar. Just kidding. The name rugby actually has nothing to do with the sport, Amanda. The Rugby School, where this whole thing allegedly started, was just the name of a school in England. It was founded in 1567 in the town of Rugby, Warwickshire.
How interesting.
Yeah, the school actually had been around for a few hundred years before good old Billy Ellis picked up the ball and started running around like a banshee. And so when people went out to play, there was an easy way to differentiate between football, as you say, or soccer, and rugby football. But then over time, it got shortened to rugby because no one wants to say rugby football all the time.
I mean, I never knew that. I already feel a little more sophisticated. And also, super cool. But next question.
What?
Okay, so this William guy, Billy, yes?
Yeah, good old Billy.
Just
We'll call him Billy the Kid.
No, it's a
Okay,
different
fine.
guy.
Different guy.
Okay, so Billy just literally ignored the rules of soccer or football, like makes up his own rules on the fly, and people were like, yeah, we should roll with this. This seems like a good idea. That makes a lot of sense. No,
Okay,
it doesn't.
Well, that's the part that's like legend, Amanda. Like I caveated the whole thing at the beginning, remember?
I guess you put an asterisk, but
I asterisked that shit. So probably it was more like they were playing soccer, and then he had the idea to pick up the ball and start playing with his hands instead of his feet. And he told a few of his friends about it.
and he totally would have been bullied.
No, like at halftime or whatever. They were like probably like on like a water break,
it
and then
wasn't
like they're
during
like,
the game.
no, my guess is they like,
Okay.
hey, let's try this out, and they started making rules from there, right? Like that's all. Like
Okay,
that's why
okay.
like the legend, right? Okay. And fun fact, the trophy for the Rugby World Cup is actually called the Webb Ellis Cup, thanks to good old Billy Ellis.
Oh, I love when there's like
Not
a little,
Billie Eilish, Billy Ellis. Okay, don't get this confused.
I like when there's like a little nod to the OG, kind of like the Lombardi
Right,
trophy.
that's it. Right, but this is like legend.
Oh,
Legend,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
you gotta love
The
legend.
one who started it, right?
I know.
But when did rugby actually become official rugby?
Like officially, like the sport rugby.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to fast forward like 20 more years. So like to 1845, when Rugby School in Warwickshire finally wrote down like some rules, and that's when things started to take shape.
Okay, just to make sure I understand this. So it was Billy. He was playing. They were playing soccer at the rugby school.
Yes.
He picked up the ball.
Yes.
And it morphed into an actual like rugby school sport that the
Rugby,
kids would play.
just the sport. They called it rugby just because that's where they were. They were at
Right.
that school.
Right.
And
so
like,
they just decided to make
and he didn't just pick up
rules.
a ball. I'm sure they like talked about it, and then they started playing a new game ish. But yes, that's it. Yes,
And
yes,
now,
yes, you're right.
20 years later, they're making rules
In 1845, yes,
for this new sport.
yes,
Huh.
yeah. And then fast forward again, another 30 years, and in 1871, a bunch of clubs in England were like, okay, this is getting serious. We need like an actual governing body. So they formed something called the Rugby Football Union, or the RFU.
Huh. And that's when it became a serious thing.
Totally. And from there, the sport started spreading everywhere. So first across England, and then all of Britain, and then after that, of course, all the way out to all the colonies, because, you know, the British people were really into like forcing their sports on people. Like shout out to the cricket episode. And that's how like Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa all got super into it.
Wait, hold on. So explain the difference then between England and Britain.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so England is just the country of England itself, right? Duh. And Britain refers to the whole geographical like island up there, like, and that consists of England, Scotland, and Wales. And then, fun fact: the United Kingdom, I'll go a little further, is when you just add Northern Ireland to that mix, and finally, then the British Isles is the whole damn thing, including the Republic of Ireland and a bunch of other smaller islands like the Isle of Man and the Channel Islands. So it goes like England, Britain, United Kingdom, British Isles.
Got it. Thanks
Yeah.
for my little geography.
Yeah, no,
lesson
it's
there.
a lot.
I never actually really thought about all of that or put it all together. So that was a good one. Thank you. But I do have another question.
Yeah.
So if England and all these other countries are getting into rugby and everything, why did America then go the other way and start a whole football thing? Like not soccer, like actual American football.
Yeah, okay, good question. So actually a few reasons. I had to look this all up. So remember that rugby was a British game played by like the elite schools of England. And the United States was still looking for ways to like reject British traditions, shifting away from the monarchy and nobility and the whole elite status thing. That's like why we made America in the first place, if you go all the way back to the 13 colonies, right? So they were like, yeah, like sort of screw Britain and everything they do. So then there was the whole geography thing. First of all, it was like an ocean away. Oh my God, that's from Hamilton. An ocean away. Da-da-da-da, ocean away.
I love how you knew that one line.
Oh my God. What is
I
that?
couldn't even place it from.
It's
what
one of the
song it
songs.
is.
Okay,
it
anyway.
probably is,
Right,
but
okay.
your brain is fascinating.
It's crazy. Okay. And I know like so was Australia and New Zealand and like South Africa. But remember they were all under British rule at the time. And we weren't anymore. And on top of that, we had all these immigrants coming to America in the late 19th century, like the Germans, the Irish, the Italians, all the Eastern Europeans who had like zero history with rugby. So there was no big like groundswell of momentum or anything in America, right? And then finally, let's be real, people. Americans love their structure. They like strategy. They like military. They're like formations. They like play calling. Things that are like way more controlled. Rugby was like way too free flowing. And that totally didn't match how American sports were evolving at the time.
So really the same problem with soccer.
Oh my God, totally. So it wasn't like America thought like rugby was bad or anything. It just didn't match like the sports culture that was forming in the United States. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it kind of makes
Okay,
sense.
good.
I think I track. So wait, when I was doing my research, I came across 2 different versions of rugby though. So they have something that's called Rugby Union and Rugby League. And before we keep going, what is the difference so nobody else gets confused?
Oh my God, that's good. Good prompt. You, Amanda, are referring to the Great Rugby Schism of 1895, which, let's be honest, sounds way more dramatic than it actually was. Well, I just made it sound more dramatic. So basically in 1895, there was this massive split in England because like northern teams wanted to pay their players. And the Rugby Football Union was like, no way, dudes. We're keeping this like total amateur sport. Like we're not paying anybody. So the northern teams broke off and formed Rugby League where players could get paid. Meanwhile, Rugby Union stayed amateur for a long time. Like long. Like another 100 years. Like till like the 1990s, Amanda.
Wait, the Rugby Union didn't go professional until the 1990s? Because that's wild if you think about it.
No, totally. Yes, I know. I couldn't believe it either. When I was doing this research, I was like, wait, what? That's crazy. It gets a little more complicated even from here, so stay with me. Remember the cricket episode?
Totally do.
Okay. Remember there were like 3 versions of cricket? Like there was Test cricket, the really long one.
Yep.
Then there was one-day internationals, which was like the one-day version. And then finally the T20, the one we just had, like the World Cup here in the United States a few months back.
Yep.
Okay. So basically it's the same thing with rugby, but instead of shortening the length like they did with cricket, they reduced the number of players instead. They're looking for ways to make it more fun and exciting to like gain popularity. So you have Rugby Union, the traditional one, with 15 players on each side.
The one that they didn't get paid to compete until the 90s.
Correct. And that was by far the most popular version of rugby, like around the world. They use it for Rugby World Cup, Six Nations, and the Rugby Championship. More scrums and rucks, and it's just a little slower and more structured than other versions.
Wait, holy shit. You're throwing a lot out here. What are scrums and rucks? What's happening?
What's happening is that you're feeling a little anachronistic, aren't you? A little out of place?
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll get there. Okay. We'll do definitions in a sec. Relax. Okay. So next you have Rugby League, the faster paced one where they got paid earlier, with 13 players on each side. That one is mainly played in Australia, England, and New Zealand. No rucks, fewer scrums, and if teams get tackled 6 times before they score, they have to turn the ball over. Sort of like in American football. It's like faster and more higher scoring. Like rugby with like hot sauce added. And then finally...
Spicy rugby.
Oh, it's spicy rugby. Then finally you have rugby sevens, like the sprint version. Like there's 7 players on each side. The one they just put in the Olympics like 10 years ago and has been totally amazing. Games are only 14 minutes long, 7-minute halves. And the field or the pitch or whatever, I think it's the pitch. It's like totally wide open. And of course, it's totally catching on in America. And fun fact, our U.S. national team is actually pretty good at this one.
Men's or women?
All the above.
Oh.
Yes.
So we finally found a version of rugby that we don't actually suck at?
Yes. The U.S. men's and women's team are both super competitive in sevens.
Okay. So I think I'm starting to understand a little bit. We got the Rugby Union, the Rugby League, and now Rugby Sevens. But now I need some definitions and rules because I don't think, this whole scrums and rucks business sounds very peculiar.
I think it sounds fascinating. But don't worry, it's easy. Are we ready?
Okay.
I'll only explain Rugby League because that's the one they use like internationally anyway. And
so
like
we
all
suck
the rest
at that
one.
one.
We don't
like Americans.
Okay, yeah, we're not as good because we're new to
Wait,
it.
which one did they play in the Olympics? The
Rugby
Rugby
sevens.
Sevens.
Yeah,
okay.
you're
So
right.
we just
Okay.
suck. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
I'm just gonna do international because like if you're gonna explain soccer, you might as well explain World Cup soccer.
Okay,
Okay, you get
that's
the
true.
idea.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, okay.
So let's start with the whole point of the game. The whole idea is to get the ball over the opponent's try line, TRY, try line, and ground it for a try. So it's the same exact concept as a touchdown, but way cooler. And you win by scoring more points than the other team before time runs out. Duh. There are 2 halves consisting of 40 minutes each, 80 minutes total, and a running clock, no endless stoppage times like in American football. So far, so good?
Yep.
Okay. But here's the thing. The ball can only be passed backwards or sideways. Can't go forward like in football. The only way to move it forward is by running or kicking. It's harder than it looks. And your team can't block like in football. You just run until you get tackled or like beat to shit by the other team. And as soon as you get tackled, you have to release the ball by putting it on the ground. And that usually leads to something called a ruck, which you asked about earlier, which is just a sophisticated way of saying both teams are allowed to fight for the ball. There are few rules around it, but that's way too sophisticated for this podcast. So the ruck is ball goes down on the ground, teams line up, They have to both be behind the ball. They start fighting to try to get the ball.
This is kind of when they all have their arms around each other.
Nah, a little different. No, the ruck's much smaller. This happens
Oh.
over and over again, like every 20 seconds.
Okay.
Like you get tackled, like three. It's like 3-on-3.
Oh.
A ruck is like really small.
Okay.
Right, and you're pushing for the ball. We'll get to scrum in a minute. You can score points by placing the ball down in the try zone. 5 points. Same as the end zone, like we said earlier. But like you actually have to touch the ball down on the ground. You can't like just catch it or whatever. Like you have to like place it on the ground, which is, I mean, it's not hard to do, but like it's an extra step.
Contact with the ground.
Contact with the ground, yes. And then you can gain 2 points after a try for kicking it through the upright, which is kind of the same as an extra point in football. And then a penalty kick or a drop goal for 3 points where you kick the ball through the upright, kind of like our version of a field goal. So sort of similar to football, but different.
All right. So then what's a scrum?
Okay, so the scrum is used when they have to like restart after a penalty, which is different than the ruck because the ruck's like during play.
Oh, was
like
that what I had mentioned with the arms around each other?
Yeah. That's it. Totally. It's like a free kick in soccer, right? So there are rules all around that one too, but let's just say they all lock arms. They try to push their team over a ball to gain possession without touching with their hands. And basically there's something called a hooker. I don't want to get like too crazy about it. Like not a hooker, but like when they roll the ball into the scrum, like there's one player that like can use his feet to try to push the ball back behind his team so they can gain possession. And his name is the hooker. It's not like some hot chick on like the streets of Hollywood and Vine, if you know what I mean. Okay. Yeah, I think then the only other term you like really need to know is something called like a line out, basically when the ball goes out of bounds. It's like a throw-in soccer, right? You're familiar with a throw-in, you throw the ball over your head, right? Both teams line up, and one team throws it in, and players literally throw their teammates into the air to catch it first. It's wild. Like
That sounds so dangerous.
No, it's crazy. It's totally badass to watch. I don't know how they do it. They're super strong, Amanda. Like they lift them up, like literally like 10 feet in the air.
I did see it in the Olympics.
Yeah,
so I guess
okay.
there's some, similarities between the different ones.
Totally awesome to watch. Okay. Then as far as penalties go, the only basic penalties you need to know like is offsides, which is when a player is too far ahead of the ball when they shouldn't be. Something called a knock-on, when you fumble the ball forward. That's like a turnover. Like in football, I mean, it's like a fumble in football, but this is like when it actually falls out of your hands while you're running, like, but it's going forward. Because remember, it can go backwards, no problem. But if it goes
then
forward,
what happens? So then it goes to the other team?
Turn over to the other team, yeah.
Oh, okay.
A high tackle, because remember, there's no blocking. So a high tackle is no grabbing above the shoulders to tackle someone.
So protect the jugular.
Oh, right, totally. And then like not releasing fast enough. Like when you take too long to get to let go of the ball after you get tackled, right? So there are other ones too, but like those are like the basics of like the penalties that you would watch out for.
Sounds sort of sophisticated. Awesome. I think we're all hopefully keeping up with it. Can you give us a few things that I can say while maybe watching so it looks like I know what I'm talking about as I'm trying to process everything that you just said and watch it play out on the TV?
That's impossible. I don't think you have a chance to this. Besides whatever I tell you, you'd have to know.
I'll just talk about the hooker.
Okay, yeah, you can talk about the hooker.
Or the scrum.
Right. Okay, so you're on to
the
something
ruck.
already. Perfect. Some easy ones would be like so you'd have to know like when to say them, right? So like watch out for forward passes, right? Or knock-ons, and then call them out. Like, so if you're watching and you see the ball go forward, be like, oh my God, knock on, or oh my God, forward pass. Like that's super easy. Or watch which team scrums stronger and say something about like how good they're doing. Cause like one team is going to like overpower another team. You know what I mean? And so you'd be like, oh yeah, they're awesome. That one team like has a way stronger scrum. Yeah.
Yes.
Duh.
This is going to work out
Right, this is
real
easy.
well.
Okay, or like if you want to be super sophisticated, be like, I usually watch sevens because that's like a way faster game. But I have a soft spot for like the tradition of Six Nations, and that will make you look awesome.
Awesome.
Right?
It's going to make me look like a pro.
Totally.
All right. So since I know the game a little bit better and got some of the history under my belt, how does the Six Nation tournament fit into all of this anyways? And what's that about?
Oh my God, right? Like the whole reason behind why we picked this topic in the first place.
I mean, no, I thought we just picked it because of rugby, but evidently you picked it because you knew more about this whole Six Nations tournament thing that's happening.
Let's go. So it all started on January 31st this year and runs through March 15th.
That is a really long time.
Well, because it's like, it's the World Cup. It's the same thing. Like
The
with
World Cup
soccer
goes for
or
like
cricket.
2 months, 3
Yes,
months?
like
2
a month and a half. 6 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah. Same.
Nope.
Yeah.
Never put that together.
You still have plenty of time to get cultured.
Okay.
I promise. It's basically the oldest rugby tournament in the world that is still running, Six Nations. It started way before Rugby World Cup, all the way back in 1883, when it was just 4 teams, England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. Back then, it was called the Home Nations Championship because, well, as we spoke about earlier, those were the home nations of the UK.
Right, and colonialism hadn't gone too out of control yet.
Totally good point. But then in 1910, France joined in, and it became known as the Five Nations.
Dun, dun, dun. So creative.
Right, I know, totally. And then it wasn't until the year 2000
Wow.
when Italy butted its way in and made it
90
six
years.
nations. It sounds very indigenous, like the Indian folk in America. Six Nations tournament, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's very, very,
yes.
very indigenous. Okay.
But wait, why France and Italy? Like, why are there no teams from the Southern Hemisphere? Does nobody else play in it?
Okay, so good question. I had to look this up too. So as far as France and Italy goes, it's because they're like the only teams that actually can compete at the same level as like England and Wales and like the rest of the UK. There are other European countries like Spain and Georgia, believe it or not, but they're not good enough to play consistently at the level required. So stay tuned. More to come in the future. And as far as why only the Northern Hemisphere teams go, it's really because the Southern Hemisphere already has their own thing called the Rugby Championship. And that's where like New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, and Argentina all battle it out, who are like animals on the pitch.
So if I understand correctly, the Rugby Championship is for all the Southern Hemisphere folk. And then the Six Nation is all the European powerhouses trying to assert their dominance over each other.
Pretty much. Right.
Okay.
It happens every year.
When do they meet?
Yeah, every year.
No, when do the Southern and Northern ever meet?
Oh, in the Rugby World Cup.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So there's a kind of like we have the American League and we have the National League and then
it's like Copa America for soccer
okay.
and then the European Championship, same, and then they have the World Cup every 4 years.
Okay,
Totally similar. Right. Like people plan their lives around this like whole Six Nations things. Like it's a big deal. Like it's super intense. Like games are brutal. And if England wins, the rest of the country spend an entire year complaining about it all the time.
That sounds about right. But who usually wins out of the six of them?
Well, I mean, historically, England wins.
Okay, that makes sense.
They have the most titles, like a lot. But France, Ireland, and Wales have all had some pretty dominant runs. And in recent years, Ireland has been like insanely good.
So a little bit of everything is what I'm hearing.
Totally.
So then who do you think is going to win this year?
Oh, France, hands down.
Why?
Antoine Dupont, like the best player in the world. Like nobody can stop this guy. Like look this dude up. First of all, he's hot AF. Like I'm not going to lie to you.
Beautiful man.
He is unbelievable. He is an absolute animal. He's better than anybody ever to play the game, I swear to God. So
all right.
France.
Well, I guess we got to watch him.
Yeah.
Or them. I guess we should watch the whole team.
We should watch them, but you're going to watch
specifically him.
Right. Yeah.
So we've gone from knowing nothing about rugby to being ready to drop some random facts at a sports bar and impress strangers. So I guess we can all say that we're just sort of sophisticated. Got anything else for us? Like, can we do some fun facts? You know, those ones are the ones that stick.
Oh, no, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm ready to roll.
Okay. Shout out. Go.
All right, fact one.
Start it.
Yeah. So France, we're talking about France. They joined the Six Nations tournament in 1910, like I said earlier. And they were in it for like 20 years until, Amanda, they got kicked out in 1931 for being too violent.
What? I thought the French were supposed to be like...
And allowing professional players in. Remember, you couldn't pay players?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
They were losers. And it wasn't until 1947 that they decided to behave and everyone started trusting them again and they finally got reinstated. So they were like ousted for like 16 years.
So they were cheating.
Totally. French. Huh. The Frenchies. Okay. Number 2, the Six Nations trophy has a secret champagne chamber hidden inside of it. How do you like that? Oh, okay. It's not that secret, really. It's just a cup made of sterling silver and can hold 3.75 liters of liquid, but it is like a closed top.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, which makes it super convenient for pouring champagne in it and drinking from it after you win. Let's go.
It's going to be a great fun fact to pull out when the trophy comes out.
Yes, it is.
Did you know?
Right? Awesome. Okay. Number 3, in Six Nations rugby, there's something called the wooden spoon tradition, and you do not want to win it. The wooden spoon is an unofficial award given to like the team that finishes last in the Six Nations. It's been around for over a century, but there's no physical trophy. Just shame and total disappointment, and Italy wins it all the time. Sorry, Italy. It's kind of like
get a swan on the butt with the wooden spoon.
Oh, probably.
Like
Oh my God, that would be excellent.
That's funny.
Oh my God, I don't even know where to go with that. I'm having all sorts of visions. I think it's funny because it reminds me of like fantasy football. You know, like when you lose in a fantasy football league, like there's some like crap you have to do or some gag you have to pull. Like the loser, like the winner wins a trophy, but like the loser has to do something terrible. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like bunko.
Yeah.
Like the loser gets an onion.
Yeah. Yep. There we go. Perfect. Same concept. Apparently it's all over the world. Okay. Fun
shame
fact
the
4.
loser. Shame.
Have you seen Game of Thrones? When she has to walk down the streets naked. Shame. Okay. Anyway. All right, number 4. Okay, so rugby is known for the use of oval-shaped balls.
Is that how they got the shape of the ball for football, for American football?
Okay, no, like from the same concept, but no, they're different balls. They've evolved differently over time. Okay, initially the rugby balls were plum-shaped due to the shape of pigs' bladders that they were made from. And by the way, so were footballs. That's where they were the same.
Oh.
But over time, rugby balls became more spherical towards the end of the 19th century when they began being made using rubber inner tubes rather than the bladder of pigs.
Huh.
So there you go. Super fun fact. They used to all have to be blown up by person, like with their actual breath, like a balloon. And it was possible to get sick from blowing up a diseased bladder. And actually, Rebecca Linden, the wife of Richard Linden, the guy who made like balls for like Rugby School in the 19th century, actually died after breathing in the air from too many bad bladders.
Oh.
True fact. You could totally look it up.
Wow.
Yes.
That was unexpected.
And like they got more like of that oval shape because they were easier to like when they bounced, like to like pick up on the fly. Because remember, rugby is like soccer. It moves fast. Football, they went more aerodynamic because
you're passing in the air.
You're passing in the air. They
it.
didn't have to worry about it like hitting the ground or anything. So they went two different directions. Okay, fun fact 5. The first time a national anthem was ever sung was before a rugby game. Who would have known? Yes. It happened spontaneously, like totally spontaneously. November 16th, 1905, when New Zealand famously danced their haka before the start of a game, because that was going on already since like 1883 or whatever, when they played Wales at Cardiff Arms Park. After New Zealand danced, Wales responded by beginning to sing the Welsh national anthem, Hen Lad Fin Ai Dai. I don't even know if I said that right. And the crowd picked up on it and joined in. And that led us to the tradition today where national anthems are played before every major sporting event. Go Welshish people. Go Welsh people.
Go the Welsh.
Go the Welsh. I love that. Let's go.
But also, why don't we sing during the national anthem?
I don't know.
I feel like we should.
We probably should.
Oh, man.
I don't know. Maybe that was a thing for a while. I'll look that up.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that's a good one.
I'll GTS. All right, number 6. The same whistle is used to kick off the opening game of every Rugby World Cup tournament. It's called the Gil Evans whistle, and it was first blown by Gil Evans. Go figure. The Welsh because if it was no, it was blown by some other dude named Bob Nelson. Like what? Of course it was. The Welsh referee overseeing a match between England and New Zealand, Amanda, in 1905, and has been used in every tournament since.
I mean, I'm sure they like disinfect it.
125 years, they're still blowing the
But
same stupid whistle.
Do you think they put it in like a box, like a
Formaldehyde?
clear box that you can see?
No, formaldehyde would kill people. I don't even know.
No.
I don't know.
Huh.
But I think that's a totally cool tradition,
It is
right?
cool.
Let's go Gil Evans. Thank you very much. But that's for Rugby World Cup. That's not like for Six Nations.
Right,
That's
right,
like that.
right.
Okay. And finally, believe it or not, Amanda, the United States is the current holder of the gold medal in the last Rugby Union match to be played in the Olympics.
Huh.
Who would have known? So check this out. They won it in 1924 at the Paris Olympics, and then the IOC subsequently took Rugby Union, that's the one with 15 players, out of the Olympics forever. And they only recently brought back rugby now in the format of rugby sevens. So the U.S. will forever hold its place in rugby Olympic lore.
That we were the gold.
We were the gold medal winners of Rugby Union the last time it was ever played. That's it. That's all I got. I'll finish.
Man.
Fun facts out.
I love fun facts. They're amazing. I also don't know how you find them because they're always just so good. It's like you're an archaeologist doing all this digging, except you're doing it on the internet instead of in real life, which is incredible. Good job. But before we close out, how about you do what you always do and summarize all this stuff so I can be ready to watch some rugby. And now that I really have my fun facts, remember some other like historical facts that I should know.
All right, you ready?
Ready?
We'll get serious.
Okay.
All right. Rugby's origin story dates back to 1823 when William Webb Ellis allegedly picked up the ball and ran during a soccer match at Rugby School in England. Though there's no real evidence this actually happened, it does make for a totally good story. Number 2, the first official rugby rules were written in 1845, and by 1871, the Rugby Football Union was formed, leading to the global spread of the sport and eventually the creation of the Rugby World Cup in 1987. Number 3, Rugby Union and Rugby League are the two main types of rugby. Union, 15 players per team, is played in the Six Nations and Rugby World Cup, while League, 13 players per team, is faster and more structured and mainly played in Australia and England. And don't forget the newer Rugby Sevens that's now played at the Olympics. Number 4, scoring works like this. A try is 5 points. It's when you ground the ball in the opponent's try zone. A conversion, 2 points, is a kick after the try. And penalty kicks, 3 points, or drop goals, 3 points, come from kicking the ball through the posts. Number 5, key rules, you can only pass the ball backwards or sideways. Tackling is allowed, but no blocking. And after the 6th tackle in rugby league, the ball is turned over. Number 7, the Six Nations started in 1883 with England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. France joined in 1910 and Italy in 2000. And finally, England has won the most Six Nations titles. France got kicked out in 1931 for being too aggressive, and Italy has never won, often claiming the dreaded wooden spoon. Last place.
And there you have it, fellow listeners, a deep dive into the history and madness of rugby and the Six Nations. From its rebellious origins at the Rugby School to the bruising battles on modern-day pitches, this game isn't just about strength, it's about strategy, tradition, and let's be honest, a little bit of chaos. If we've done our job today, hopefully you're leaving a bit more sophisticated with a sharper rugby IQ, a few fun facts, and maybe even a reason to tune in to the next Six Nations match. Whether it's tackling the history of legendary rivalries or questioning why a trophy needs a built-in champagne chamber, the takeaway remains the same. Sports aren't just about who wins, it's about the stories, the culture, and the moments that make it unforgettable. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and pass it on to a friend who loves yelling at the TV. Until next time, don't worry if you're still figuring out the rules. Life, like rugby, is all about adapting on the fly, taking the hits, and making the next play count. So stay curious and stay inspired.
Bam, bam,